We are the AI Wonder Girls. We are a very proud all-women team from all over the world with different tech backgrounds and also different interests such as cats, living in Mars, and liking Harry Potter, among other things. So for our project in this hackathon, we aim to acknowledge the lack of diversity in the arts world. And research shows that although women are about half of the art students, still the majority of the work that is promoted in exhibitions all over the world is still by white men. And although this, like here that I'm showing is for the US, this is still a pattern that we see all over the world. So we thought, what if we could create an application that promotes the work of female artists? And what if we can also use AI to create new art that is completely based on the work of women artists? And just to make it more awesome, what if this application could be fully implemented by an all-women team, the AI Undergirls? So this is our Athena Art Assistant. This is the project, our project for this hackathon. And our plan was to create an application that helps users following like 3 fronts. The first one is to get to know the work of women artists via recommender systems. So this is what we have over here. Then we also have the art creation from AI and like a combination of AI and women's work of art, using advanced techniques such as style transfer or recurrent neural networks, and maybe also some animations as well. And we also want to help users to become familiar with the statistics about diversity in the arts world, doing this through data analysis in this part of our application that is about diversity in numbers, just in terms of visualizations and so on. So we also want to enhance the user experience by adding what we call an AI assistant that is basically like an audio feature that mimics the audio guides that we also have in museums. So the way this could work is, for example, if you go here to Art by Women, you can have recommendations, and the AI art assistant can tell you, for example, just give you some audio information about the artist, or also about the art itself that is being recommended to you. And there's other features that I mentioned about art, AI creation would be under the Athena art, and also like the diversity. And this is an idea to make this is an open source project that can be expanded to other uses of applications as well as other data as well. So one important thing about our project is that we are following a data-centric approach, which means that we are using technology that already exists, but we are trying to see this from the perspective of data. So in a way, we are trying to create art and promote art, but using art exclusively produced by women, and we can also expand to other minority groups such as non-binary and other groups. And the idea is to make this an open source project. So for our prototype for this hackathon, of course, because in terms of limitations of time, we plan to start with some AI creations, especially for painting and poetry, using style transfer and recurrent neural networks, and also make initially recommendations for movies and maybe series as well that are created by, or either directed or written, like the scripts written by women. We plan to implement this using Flask API, REST APIs and also Flask. And the idea is to create an application that has the potential to enhance the visibility of the work of women in arts, also make art creations that are purely from machine and women, and educate the general public about diversity in the art world. So this is our roadmap. So now we already passed some brainstorming and data mining parts. We are now in the pre-processing kind of stage of our project, and we still have, of course, down the line the modeling, deployment, and as was mentioned before, also like the communication, like how we will present all of this to the public, and like just to get evaluated and so on. So of course we have also challenges and learnings and so on. So for challenges, it's a bit tricky to find, of course, open source data specifically when it's about women, because there's of course a lot of open source data out there, but when you have to filter out the women's part, we still don't have so much. So, and also like we have a very technical team. We have a graphic designer in our team, but we still have a little bit of this lack of domain knowledge in terms of the art world. So the way we are trying to tackle this problem is by learning from artists. Like we're trying to reach out to some artists to just like learn how we can help, or what kind of art would be even interesting for them to have over there. And for that, we are also like leveraging our knowledge, like just extending our knowledge to just learn more advanced AI techniques. And we are very proud to be an all-women team, also following a data-centric approach, which means that we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel, but we have to change the perspective of how we apply the things that already exist. In our case, promoting the work of women. So that's basically all I have to show you. And thank you all. Thank you the sponsors, and thank you all the teams for being here. Like very excited to see so many nice presentations. Thank you, guys.
The work is called Computer Vision, the Blind Man and the Elephant. It's a multiple AR marker-based augmented reality experience that uses 7 different markers. Each of them have a unique pattern that displays a text written in Braille letters. And each of these markers trigger a different experience within the same HTML link. And the background of this work is the parable of the blind man and the elephant, which is a story of how 6 blind men encountering an elephant, each of them is touching a different part of the elephant, and this is resulting that each of the blind men thinks what he's touching is something different, and all of them fail to see the whole elephant. For example, one of the blind men is touching the leg of the elephant, and he thinks that this is a tree trunk. And I was reflecting on the topic of object detection in computer vision, how this is working through humans defining what something looks like and then attaching a label to that, and how this is ultimately leading to like generalization and also introducing bias and reduction of the complexity of the whole world. So I decided to combine like how in AR experiences the camera recognizes a marker and can then trigger an experience with the concept of labeling. And so I attached to each of these markers the part of the elephant that these men see, and to each of these parts of the elephant I also added a square with a label that is used in object detection normally, but instead of showing in the label what it is actually that the person is touching, like a leg, I wrote in the label section what they misperceive it for. So it's this game of what you see versus what it actually is. And I built the whole thing using AR.js, and I used the AR.js marker generator to make these unique markers. And there I have the problem at the moment that I integrated them into the code, but it's somehow, I still have a bug to figure out because the markers somehow don't work anymore. It worked a few days ago. And what I'm proud of is that I figured out during this hackathon how to integrate multiple markers within the same HTML window so that I can trigger different AR experiences without the user having to switch between links. And how I want to further develop the project is that I would like to add sound to each of these AR experiences, and the sound should be that each of the blind people tells from his point of view why he comes to the conclusion that it is, for example, the tree trunk. And yeah, that's basically it. If you have further questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel. Like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
COVID-19 pandemic has reached almost every country in the world. Its spread has left economies and businesses counting its costs. All shops closed, people forced to stay away from their friends and families, set a social distancing and stay-at-home guidelines in order to battle this pandemic. With reduced opportunities to spend time together in person, come new challenges to remain socially connected. It has dramatically reshaped our speech and face-to-face communication. This situation increased virtual communication. Every day, billions of WhatsApp messages, tweets on Twitter are released from our smart devices as we'll try to express our feelings and expressions during this pandemic. How would our emotions and feelings look like if we gave an algorithm brushes and paint to draw our sentiment into a piece of art? From this, we inspire to build Sentimo where our feelings can be painted. We build and integrate Sentimo with guns and cans model. The system has 4 parts. First, we pre-process the tweets from a public social media database. Then we feed this most common expressions that are posted on Twitter to generate art using style can model with a clip. The third step is use mosaic GAN to generate the pattern and the grid that will use it in the final step, which is use a Photoshop to mask this pattern with a digital image. Also, we use Sentimo to generate a piece of art from scientific data. We feed the model with X-ray images for COVID-19 patient using GAN to generate and augmented the data that we have. Then we generate a symphony by code the protein sequence from COVID-19 virus using music GAN. The code are available in our GitHub repository. We will release our virtual gallery soon, and we will work to optimize the code in the future. This work done by an amazing team, Sarah and myself, Saha. We hope that you like our Sentimo and feel free to contact us in our social media if you have any questions.
Hi, my project for this hackathon is called My AI Artistic Partner. Basically, this project asks the question, can a human artist truly collaborate with an AI artist as equal partners? And the proposed model or answer to this question is to use a continuous inspiration loop between myself and the AI system. What that means is that I've created an AI collaborator that trains on my existing works, creates new works based on mine, I create new works inspired by the AIs, and the loop repeats. For this, I've used what I call PCB drawings. These are artworks designed and manufactured as circuit boards, but they are non-functional, and they are created in Eagle CAD. I want to emphasize that these are objects and not paintings or digital drawings. And here you can see some images of one of them from different angles. Sometimes you would see these models as Eagle models on the left or 3D renderings throughout the rest of the presentation. The AI is an NLP model which does character level text generation. Basically, I came up with an encoding for Eagle XML that you can see on the left and the encoding you can see on the right. I've used TextGenRNN to train and text generate. In order to interact easier with the AI, I've created a simple web app that can either generate boards or suggest completion for partial boards. So, in the generate boards mode, you click this button, generate a new board, and in the background, the server, loads the model, initializes TensorFlow, and starts the computation on a new board from scratch. This one takes quite a bit of time, and unfortunately, so far the app is pretty boring in this. I should have put an indicator to show how far we are in the generation process. But when it's generated, the board is rendered here. If you like it, you can just click on it, and then you have the model on the computer, and you can open it and work on it. To demo the second mode of the app, I've created a simple board, just the outline. It's empty. So I've saved the board, and then I can go and drag and drop the Eagle file there. And the server encodes this empty board and then kind of tries to predict the rest of it, try to fill it up with elements. When it's done, it will render the generated board and show it here. As I said, it takes a bit to generate these boards depending on the complexity. So now I have an image of the board. I can click on it, download it, and then open it up in Eagle, and then start working on it and perform my own modification. For the rest of the video, I would like to show you some of the AI generated boards. In this one, the AI took elements from 2 previous designs and combined them and made them weird. I really like this one. This one has a very vague maritime feeling to it. This one feels very sparse and monumental in some way. Now, this one is a bit different. The design generated by the AI is on the left. I didn't care much about it, but I liked the tangle of wires, which I have used in the design on the right. And this one is another AI generated design. I totally love the central shape and I'm gonna use it in some design. So I hope that I've shown that this project, this model of collaboration works. The AI can train on my works, generate new works, and I create new works based on it. Now, what's next for this? I would love to have a better neural network, an NLP neural network. I have to fix some defects. I would make the app more usable and release publicly, and I would also manufacture some of these generated boards. But most importantly, I would love to have a two-artist exhibition with my works and the AI's works. Thank you so much for this fun hackathon.
This is Magic Brush. It's a drawing app where you draw not with pixels or coal, but with stuff. Let's jump right in. After creating a new file, this app looks just like a regular painting app. But instead of working with brushes, simulating analog techniques like acrylic or watercolor, this approach focuses on simulating real stuff like cars, furniture, or even vegetables. But it's not limited to the material or objects shown here. With ease, you can create brushes from your own stuff. And what Magic Brush does, it uses the Pix2Pix HD algorithm for generating the brushes from pre-processed data input. All you need is photos, videos, or existing datasets of the materials or objects you want to create a brush from. Without being an expert on machine learning, you can simply train the network on your pictures in minutes. Once your brush is trained, you can just start using it like the rest. You can simply train the network on your pictures, and then as you paint, you will see those things appearing in front of you. It's just mental. It's very interesting.
Hello and welcome to the presentation of the Art AI project, our submission for the SAAI hackathon. My name is Rico and I've been working on this project with Sue. We are an international and interdisciplinary team. Myself, I'm a software engineer originally from Switzerland and now live in Australia, and Sue is a sound artist from China that currently studies in Germany. So what exactly is Art AI? Art AI is an interactive art installation that collects people's ideas in real time from social media and uses deep learning and AI art generation to curate these ideas into a dynamic display. The general idea is to use deep learning and neural networks to generate visual art and music, and then curate individual pieces of generative art into a dynamic display automatically in a way that is visually pleasing through motion and animation. Instead of using a flat display, we want to project the art onto a spherical surface, either from above as shown on the right-hand side, or from the front. To further increase immersion, people should be able to walk around the installation and inspect it from different angles. As a bonus, we wanted to add a real-time aspect and audience integration. To achieve this, we first asked the audience to come up with a title of a scene or painting, anything they can imagine, really, and then post this on Twitter along with the hashtag ArtAI. We then fetch this title in real time from Twitter and use deep learning to generate an image that is somehow related to what the user wanted to see. Finally, we combine and render the generated images dynamically in an interesting way. From a technical perspective, this requires 4 components. The central hub is a data store that connects all the other parts of the system with each other. A member of the audience then goes onto Twitter and tweets his or her idea. In this case, I tweeted, "A horse on a meadow with flowers," and included the hashtag ArtAI. This tweet will then be picked up by the system as soon as it is posted and is then stored in the database. Immediately after, the component responsible for the art generation will receive the content of the tweet and start a machine learning inference process to generate the image that is shown here. Once the process has completed, the generated image will be sent back to the central data store. Finally, the front-end renderer, which we call the curator, will load this image into memory and render it using real-time graphics. Since we now knew what we wanted to create, I started writing the 4 components of the system while Sue started building the setup. Here she is preparing the display surface, spraying it white for better image quality. And here is us working together in a Zoom meeting, trying to combine our efforts to get everything up and running. And soon we started getting some first results. And now we're happy to show you a quick demo of the final installation. We hope you enjoyed our demonstration. If you would like to check out the curator yourself, it can be accessed online on artai.silentbyte.com. Note that while the demo you have just seen featured real-time integration with Twitter, this feature has been turned off for the online version due to high associated costs of running real-time machine learning inference online. In case you would like to run the project yourself, it is fully open source and accessible on GitHub. There are still a few things left we would like to do. One feature we want to implement is sending the generated images back to the Twitter user who contributed the idea. To do this reliably, we would have to procure more powerful GPUs, as generative art is extremely resource intensive. And ultimately, we would love to see Art AI at an exhibition. This concludes our presentation. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and feel free to ask us any questions you might have. I will leave you now with a few more impressions of the project to enjoy. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Mohammed from Mustan. Fun fact, Mustan actually means embellished in English, and this is our project. So the problem, as you know, is the high prices of original art, limited capabilities in terms of technology and authenticity, and the art that's out there cheap and with no meaning. So our solution is a set of services, tools, and initiatives, including an easy AI art tool, plus a VR gallery exhibition in a marketplace where you can turn your art into NFTs. We want to make art accessible to everyone and enhance everybody's lives and creativity. We exploit AI and blockchain and emerging technologies. Our aim is to offer an immersive experience with an art with a meaning. So basically, you think about an artistic concept, you use the algorithm, you submit the art piece, then you can show it on our website, and now you're an AI artist. We use PHP, MySQL for the website, Python, and so on for AI art, and Unity for developing the VR.
Eclipse references technology and the idea of movement and kinetic energy. It combines AI and virtual reality with art and cultural heritage in Saudi Arabia. Our gallery showcases imagination and ingenuity whilst keeping a democratic focus, supporting the creative ecology of Saudi Arabia and its cultural value, increasing international awareness of Saudi's culture and tradition. Our gallery tells the story of multiculturalism through material culture. There are 3 facets of our source of inspiration. First facet is Saudi Arabia culture and heritage. The second is art markets development, including the digitization of the contemporary art market. Our AI VR gallery makes the global art commons more versatile and efficient, offering both cultural and financial value, whilst also analysing and offering interesting avenues of future ideas in this sector. The third facet of our inspiration is technology and accessibility. In an era of growing nationalism, chauvinism, and populism, the eclipse of diversity tells the story of multiculturalism, exchange, adaptation, and interaction with digital technology. This shows the depth of community and nations to one another through the passage of material culture on an online virtual reality platform. Our gallery promotes scholarship and learning, building trust in both the analog and the physical world. Education lies at the heart of our gallery. The art collection has a utilitarian purpose of teaching design. Diversity and difference in an age of algorithmic certainty, our artificial intelligence virtual reality gallery creates a unique, tailor-made art experience whilst integrating intellectual diversity in Saudi Arabia culture. Our key focus is ESG factors. Our gallery's values is based on our beliefs in openness, diversity, and sustainability.
So this is the VR gallery made by our VR developer, Sarah.
The facade entrance of the gallery shows symmetry. Through the vanishing point, you see various artwork.
Also, the art pieces were made exclusively for this hackathon, and they're reflecting our culture and heritage. As you can see, the Arabic calligraphy patterns. We used different algorithms, clip cans, and so on.
As we move upstairs, you see the central room, where there are several elements tying together the theme of eclipse of diversity. On the left, it's highlighted through natural lighting, whereas on the right, more artificial lighting. On the right, there's a communal space. There are two main rooms with a circular composition for gatherings, so people could come to discuss the artworks and the cultural patterns on the walls, highlighting Arabic culture.
So as a user, you should be able to use VR glasses, and we can also deploy it, and our planning actually to deploy it on our website.
As well as the video of our artwork, which ties in kinetic energy and movement towards our concept, the eclipse of diversity, integrating diverse cultures from Saudi Arabia.
So our vision is enabling everyone to produce their own AI art and so on. So our website, screenshot, and our market research. Competitors, like one-way ML art reader. This is a prototype of our tool, the generative art tool. This is our inspiration for the art we made exclusively for this hackathon, patrons from all regions in Saudi Arabia. So this is from the southern region. And this style used over here is taught on a generative model. So basically, this is a folklore dance where it's a war dance where they shoot these guns full of powder, so nobody gets harmed. This is the other artwork we've made that's inspired by the Western region's patterns, cultural patterns, which is Hijazi and Roshan. This is actually the tip of the iceberg. We have many things to show, but out of respect for your time. This is some artwork we've done using Arabic, depicting Arabic calligraphy. So for this artwork, we used the text-to-image algorithm, where we took some poems from the famous Al-Mutanabbi, a great poet in the Islamic Golden Age, which is really fascinating. These are from last year, the Artathon, our winning project. Our art has been gifted to His Royal Highness the Minister of Energy. Our art has been exhibited in the AI Global Summit. We have an initiative with Joy of Youth, a fundraising to support these poor neighborhoods and embellish their lives and turn their neighborhoods beautiful, like this. As you can see, our team is quite diverse and have the capabilities to make this happen. Thank you for listening.